What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Living Live 4G, and today we will be talking about Battlefield's new Battle Royale mode, Firestorm, and how you can get your first victory, or your 10th victory, or however many you have. We're going to add to that today, and a lot of this is subject to change, so keep an eye on the updates in the comments below. That being said, without further ado, let's jump into tip number 1. Tip number 1 is destructible environment. If you're not sure where someone is in a house or even a whole village, you can blow the buildings down using an airstrike, rocket launcher, tank, anti-air cannon, or any other explosives you can find. Guys, this is super satisfying, super rewarding. I love doing this. I'm a big push everything kind of guy when I'm playing battle royales. And a lot of the times I get killed by campers in buildings, and I know they're in the building, but I don't know where they're at in the building. So I rush into the building and they're sitting in a corner and they kill me and yada yada yada. I'm sure you guys have all been through this. Gone are those days, guys. You know there's somebody in a building? Blow that sucker down. For tip number 2, guys, this is a touchy subject for a lot of people playing this game right now, but I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the loot. First off, I'm going to tell you, you cannot carry unlimited amounts of ammo. You can only carry certain amounts total. So only loot the ammo you need. Now, starting out, this is going to be hard to tell exactly what ammo you need. But if you expand your inventory by hitting down on your D-pad or whatever the hotkey is for PC, if that's what you're on, it'll tell you whether or not you have rifle, sniper, SMG, LMG, pistol, or shotgun ammo for each gun. Does that make sense? Also, when you're looking at the loot on the ground, each type of ammo has its own box. So each box looks different. It's not color coordinated, but they're totally different boxes. Once you train your eye to tell which box is which, this will become much easier, so do not let it discourage you from enjoying this game. The loot is something that is a bit clunky right now, as you're using a system where when you kill someone, the loot kind of explodes out of their body, a lot like Fortnite, and all the loot's kind of stacked on top of each other. It is a challenge. It is something that you will have to get used to, but I wouldn't get used to it too much. I have a feeling they're going to be changing this, guys. There's a lot of complaints out there about it, but I found myself, the longer I play, the more I train my eye for the certain things that I need, I'm getting a lot better at managing my inventory and using this looting system. It's a big deal in this game because they are trying to keep it realistic, and you can only carry, it's like other battle royales in the sense that you can pick up bigger and better backpacks, but you can still only carry the certain amounts of ammo. That's why I put emphasis on the ammo. Because when I started out, I was playing a lot like Blackout. I was picking up every ammo I saw because I wasn't sure what I needed, and I found myself only having like 20 rifle bullets, and that's just not gonna cut it, right? So that's tip number 2. Only loot the ammo you need. Tip number 3, guys, we're gonna talk about weapons. So in this game, there are no attachments that you can actually pick up off the ground. There are only higher tiered guns. There's 3 tiers. There's a green level 1 tier, a blue level 2 tier, and then a purple or a pink level 3 tier. And with each tier, you actually get attachments, quote unquote, put on these guns. Some of them come with higher ADS speed, better hip fire. They do get optics on them as you move up in the tier list. There are no damage increases with a better tiered gun. There will be better accuracy and things like that, but all the guns will do the same damage no matter what. Not the same damage per gun, but say, if you pick up a STG 44 tier 1, it's not going to do any less damage than the STG 44 tier 3. It may be less accurate or not have an optic on it, but the damage is going to be the same. I'm going to put a link in the description below describing all the Firestorm weapons and gadgets, It'll have all 3 tiers for each weapon, showing, you know, what you get with each tier, with each weapon, and things of that nature. So check that out. Tip number 4, we're going to talk about backpacks. Invest in this one. I'm going to throw in a quick thing about backpacks, obviously, just in case anybody doesn't know. And Battle Royale's backpacks allow you to carry more inventory. In this one, there are 3 tiers of backpacks. There's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Each one lets you carry more than the other. It's pretty intuitive, right? The vest, not so much. So starting out, you start out with a level 1 tier 1 vest already on. You pick up armor plates as you play the game, and your vest has to have armor plates in it for it to actually give you any kind of protection. When I say protection in this game, armor actually adds to your health rather than decreases the damage you take. It's like Apex. You know, each tier of vest carries more armor. So tier 1 is 1 plate, tier 2 is 2 plates, and tier 3 is 3 plates, giving you a maximum of 300 health, including your base health. So again, you do start out with a tier 1 vest on, but no armor plate in that vest. So you have to pick up an armor plate and put an armor plate in the vest in order for it to actually give you any kind of health boost. If you find tier 2, known as medium armor, or tier 3, known as heavy armor, on the ground, it should come with plates already in it unless you're picking it up off of someone that you killed. If you broke their armor, it will only be their vest and you'll have to put armor plates in it. So all that being said, armor is very important in this game, just like every other battle royale. If I have better armor than you, chances are I'm going to win that fight. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to get the best of you because I can take more shots than you. As long as I'm landing my shots, I'm going to win that one. Moving on to tip number 5, we'll talk about supply points and safes around the map. Now there are loot crates around the map, little red and tan loot crates that have decent loot in them, but there are also fixed safes around the map that are always in the same spot. It takes about 45 seconds to a minute, I would say, maybe shorter than that, to crack these safes, but they put out some really nice loot. Also, there's supply points. Now, the way these supply points work, there are blimps. You'll see blimps tied to an anchor around the map. And under this blimp, there's 3 silver, they look like time capsules, little silver crates that they're in the map. You'll get an announcement plus a visual cue. There's Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie supply points. And when these activate, you can run over to where the blimp is at and it'll start counting it down like you're capturing an objective. Once you've completely captured that objective, these crates will open up, or these time capsule looking things will open up, and it's a really nice way to get that tier 3 armor or that tier 3 weapon, or even flare guns for supply drops, vehicle drops, artillery strikes. We're going to talk more about that later on in another tip. But taking supply points is a good and fairly quick way to get a nice tier 3 weapon or tier 3 armor or something of the like. So look out for those, guys. Tip number 6. I've heard a lot of hype around the tank that's going to be in FIRESTORM. So of course, like anybody else, it's one of the first things I wanted to try. So initially I thought, oh man, this tank's going to be OP. Why would they put something like that in the game? It's not, guys. Not without fuel. You will run out of gas in that tank before you ever even reach a conflict if you do not have extra fuel, which you can find when looting, but it takes a really long time to fill up the tank. There's usually some fuel around the area where the tank is at, but on top of the fact that you have to open these big bunker doors, which sound alarms when you're trying to open them, and they take forever to open, and everybody knows where you're at, and you're just standing there turning this little wheel trying to open the door. And then you have this fuel that you might want to put in the tank now while there's nobody around, which takes even longer. And if you're in a solo game, like you have to switch seats in order to fire anything with the tank. Yes, you can run through buildings and stuff, but the tank is not OP. I had to throw this in there because I know there was a lot of hype around it. It's not as overpowered as everybody would think. So tip number 6, honestly, cut the tank. Tip number 7, we're going to talk about the pinging system that Battlefield has implemented in this game. There is a pinging system, but there's only one style of ping, which puts an arrow and the word danger wherever you ping that in game. It's still effective and I suggest you use it. It's not as extensive as Apex Legends pinging system, but a pinging system nonetheless is nice. There are directional numbers, or north, south, east, west on top of your map like all other battle royales, so you can do call outs, but having a number, calling that out, saying northeast at 225 or whatever it may be, and having a visual cue of a ping of where you last saw the enemy is always really nice, always a really great way to communicate with your teammates, and I suggest that you get used to using it. It's super simple to use. Just wherever you're aiming, you hit whatever button you have designated as your ping button, and it lets your enemy or your teammates know exactly where you're looking, so you can call out and give them a visual cue of exactly where you last saw this enemy. Tip number 8, guys, we're getting close to the end, but we're going to talk about what I mentioned earlier, and that is there are vehicle flare guns where you call down a vehicle, artillery strike flare guns where you can call down an airstrike, supply drop flare guns, and a V1 rocket, which all of these can be found randomly, but usually from those supply points or those safes that are fixed in certain locations in the map, which I said previously. So these are super dope. I don't use a lot of the vehicles, so I don't use the vehicle flare guns, but the artillery strike flare guns and that OP V1 rocket, I've used that a lot. I haven't actually gotten a kill with it per se, but it has given me the opportunity to get a lot of the kills that I've gotten. I mentioned this earlier. With the destructible environment, I have used these artillery strike flare guns time and time again to flush entire squads out of villages that they're just holding down in the center of the map. Because let's be honest, you're sitting in the corner of a house and all of a sudden you hear that little flare pop. If you don't run right then, you're definitely going to run when that wall next to you gets blown to pieces by raining hell out of the sky. So these are super cool. If you see these artillery strike flare guns, this V1 rocket, definitely pick them up. The supply drop flare guns are also very well. It drops a care package on you. Usually has really good loot in it. I find these very useful. Very useful. So that's a tip I had to put in here, guys. Tip number 9, we're going to talk about the zones for a second. Unlike most battle royales, you can actually outrun the very first zone movement in FIRESTORM. This means you can usually wait until the very last minute to run for the next zone. But beware, if you run into someone, shooting and running from the zone can lead to hard-fought engagements. And in FIRESTORM, you cannot see through the fire to kill people who are outside the storm from inside the storm like other battle royales. I've used this to my advantage a few times. I like to play the zone a lot because I noticed that definitely when games first come out, people spend a lot of time looting. Not to mention, the looting in this game is already clunky. People are trying to spend as much time as they can to figure it out. So there's a lot of people chasing or running from the zone. So I like to play the edge of the zone, and being able to outrun this first one is awesome for me because I pretty much just chase down people and kill them as they're running from the zone. Again, if you get caught in the zone, you can't see through the fire in order to kill them from outside of the zone. But people still are flustered by this. They're still, it's very early, so people are still trying to figure this game out. So this is a super easy way to rack up some kills. Just stay on the edge of the zone, kill people as they're running. Most of the time they get flustered when you shoot at them, and they don't really shoot back unless you find somebody that's a good gamer. You're usually going to win these fights 9 out of 10 times. Moving on to tip number 10. Last but certainly not least, guys, I would say use and utilize all the things that makes this battle royale different and fun. I'll be honest, my first 4 hours of this game I wasn't super impressed because I was playing it like I was playing Call of Duty Blackout or something. But after I got a win in a game where I blew up a house with an anti-air cannon and killed the campers inside, I used a few artillery strikes to fluster up a few teams. I got the tap fire down on a few of the higher tier assault rifles and learned what each ammo box looked like and how to loot more efficiently. I started really enjoying this game. It's not for everyone, but this game has some really unique features and super aesthetically pleasing to the eyes and the ears. And let's be honest, guys, seeing that V is for victory is a bad sight to see. So like I said, once I started getting a few of these things down, I really started enjoying this game, and that's kind of my goal for releasing this video. Is I hear a lot of people hounding it right now because yes, some of the looting is clunky and stuff like that, but I feel like they're not truly utilizing everything that this game has to offer. I mean, some of this stuff, like I think the artillery strikes are perfect. Like they don't do a lot of damage to people. They're not super accurate. But they're awesome for flustering people out of houses. They're awesome for, getting people to engage with you because they all have to move. It's more of like a zone denial type deal. You can drop it somewhere and fluster a team or flood a team out of a village, and that forces them to engage with you. There's a few things like that in this game that I definitely didn't use in my first 4-hour stream of playing this game. And I didn't do too well either without utilizing these. The destructible environment is a huge part of Battlefield, and the fact that they put that in their battle royale is something to take advantage of for sure. They're gonna fix a lot of things. The looting's gonna become less clunky, and it's already less clunky for me. Just me training my eyes and getting used to it, and just playing more and utilizing a lot of these tips that I just gave you guys made me enjoy the game so much more. So that's my goal for you. I hope these tips work. I hope that you guys really gained something from this. And if you did, please drop a comment, drop a like, let me know. And if you guys want some more tip videos for FIRESTORM later on down the road, I'll be glad to put some more of these out if they helped you. As I said before, a lot of this is subject to change, so constantly check on updates, check on comments. If you guys want, I will drop another top 10 tip video if and when things change. And as I learn more, I'm sure I'll have more tips for you guys. There's a lot of honorable mentions I want to make. One of the honorable mentions I'd like to make is starting out with snipers. So if you guys have ever played Battlefield, you know that Battlefield is huge on snipers, and it's not changed in FIRESTORM. Snipers are very powerful in this game. If you can get your shot down, they are awesome. I would suggest picking one up and trying it out and getting used to it and using it, because this is a big map. There's a lot of open space. There's a lot of people running. I find myself tap firing a lot of the times with assault rifles, and I can still get those kills pretty far out there. But 2 or 3 shots with a sniper rifle, it's hard to beat. Now, that being said, you do have to find those tier 2 or tier 3 snipers to have optics on them. Otherwise, they come with iron sights. And in my opinion, I don't pick up snipers, the tier 1 snipers, without an optic on it. It seems a little pointless to me when I can be just as accurate with a tier 2 or tier 3 assault rifle by tap firing. One other thing I'd like to say for sure is, since this game's early, people still trying to figure it out. People still haven't became super efficient with looting, shooting, running, maneuvering through the map, things like that. I find that my best tactic is just push people. People don't know what to do right now when they get pushed. I mean, sometimes you come across somebody that, might just match you up, and it'll be a good fight. But it's the only way you can guys get better, for sure, is drop hot, push people, grab guns, push for fights. So far, I found that probably 9 or 8 out of 10 times when I push someone, I win that fight, because either they haven't gotten used to the game yet, they want to loot in peace, whatever, yada yada yada. Don't let them push those suckers. That's gonna be all the time we have today, guys. Again, I hope these tips help you to get your first V is for victory, your first barbecue chicken dinner, or just helps you enjoy this game a little more by playing it the way it's supposed to be played. Again, this is Living Live 4G. I stream every day except for Sunday on Facebook at Living Live 4G, LIVING LIVE the number 4G. You guys come in. I have a 2-year-old son, so sometimes my schedule changes. But you know what? If you guys come in and you hit that following button and you find that little bell on my Facebook page that says notifications, you click that bell, you'll never miss another chance to start living your best life again. Because every time I go live, you're going to get that little notification, and all you got to do is click it. It's that simple. All you got to do is click the bell and wait. When you see that notification, click it to start living your best life. Again, living live 4G. We're out. Thank you guys so much for watching.